Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. And Daniel, my lovely assistant, is going to keep adding people as they come in. So, as I said, thank you all for joining. I am conducting this live, as I say, from the beautiful Denver, Colorado today. So, good morning, good afternoon to those of you that are joining from other parts of the world. So, I'm just going to go ahead and start sharing my presentation. So today we're going to look at the Veracity transmission range of products. I'm going to take you through all three families as we see them, but we'll come on to that in just a second. But firstly, I just want to introduce you to the team that we have today on the call. A lot of you will know them already, but this is the North America sales team. So we have Jay on the West Coast, Tracy Brown in Central, Nadu on our East Coast, and Daniel up in Canada. And as I say, Daniel is helping me today with questions and answers and obviously admitting people from the lobby. In terms of Veracity, for those of you that don't know us, I'm sure the majority of you do, but for those of you that don't, Veracity obviously has been around since 2005 and manufactures an extensive portfolio of IP surveillance products from transmission, which we're going to talk about today, storage and display. We're based in the UK, in Scotland, so we're headquartered out of Prestwick, and that's a lovely picture there on a very unusual sunny day, because it's not like that very often in Scotland, let me tell you, but we did capture it there in that picture. And some of you may have seen the recent video that was on LinkedIn where we gave a bit of a tour of the office, but we are there in Prestwick. We have 10 offices around the world, servicing 50 countries. So, as I said, we were founded in 2005 by surveillance industry veterans to solve some problems, I guess, back in 2005 as the IP industry started to take off. People were left in an analog world with an IP device that was very difficult then to sell to a customer because recabling was required. So the first product we launched was the Highwire, and the idea of that was to facilitate the adoption of IP technology. And then as the business has progressed over the last 20 years or 21 years as it is coming up this year, we've then branched into other areas such as storage and display, as I touched on. We also have some softwares at the other end of the product range. We're trusted by clients around the world. So we do lots of different applications for lots of very big corporate businesses. As you can see, you'll recognize some of these being in the US, some of them in the UK, Europe, and further afield in Southeast Asia. We operate in lots of different sectors, as I've said. So I think any sector that has the requirement to transmit data has probably got Longspans or Highwires or outreach across their portfolio of buildings and things. So we do lots of airports. Rail stands out as one that we do a significant amount of business. The Highwire particularly for London Underground, if any of you have visited London. So we have miles and miles of coaxial cable in the underground, and Highwire lends itself to that. We also do some really other iconic buildings like the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. It just happens to be 820 meters from the bottom to the top. And we have Longspans in there taking data all the way from the bottom right the way to the top. So the products we're going to be looking at today across the families, the Highwire, the Longspan, and the outreach. We do have some installation tools. I'm not going to touch on those today, but do reach out to your local sales representative to maybe discuss those. There will be a promotion coming up on that. We also have Lightspan, which is a fiber product. I'll be touching on that today, and an NTP time server. But to get us started, we will start with Ethernet and PoE over coax. This is, as I say, where it all began. The Highwire back in 2005 was the first product that Alistair McLeod, the founder of the Veracity business, launched into the market and was actually incredibly successful here in the US very, very early on. In fact, employee number 4 for Veracity was in the US. And for a long, long time, I think a lot of people thought that Veracity was headquartered out of the US. And that wasn't necessarily untrue, because the majority of our business was here in the United States, and we did a lot of that Highwire business and still do to this day. In fact, I think all of us as employees of Veracity are still surprised at the levels of which we sell Highwire to the market, because there is still a significant amount of analog infrastructure in place, so lots of retrofit, but also some new installations as well for security reasons. So in terms of Highwire, this is the I would say the base of our range is the standard Highwire Ethernet over coax. It supports 10 base T, so 100 megabits. Very simple to install. There's no IP address and no other setup required. It literally is plug and play, and it'll give you up to 300 meters or 1,000 feet on RG59 and 500 meters or 1,640 feet on RG11. All of our products, and as I go through the presentation, you'll see lots of these diagrams. We put a diagram against each one of our products, and that's to make it easy for you, whether you're a specifier, whether you're a distributor, or whether you're an installer. It means that you can visualize exactly where the product sits in any topography of any system, particularly when we get to some of the other products I'll touch on in a second. When we start to look at base 8s, base 4s, quads, it just gives the installer or the specifier the ability to see exactly how they go together. And you can see here with the Highwire, we denote everything by color. So we color code all the diagrams as well, again, to make it very, very easy for you. The Highwire standard is literally just data only, and you'll see that from the diagram. Then we move into the Highwire PowerStar. Now this then becomes data and power, so PoE over coax. Again, very simple and easy to set up. It's plug and play, and we do a smart LED system, and it transmits, as I say, 100 megabits per second full duplex. You need 2 units to work, a base and a camera, and all of our products come in that configuration apart from the outreach. We can send up to 25 watts of PoE to the camera, and we actually put together, and I'll come on to that in a few slides time, a power budget for you that allows you to work out exactly what power you need. So if you have the camera specification, we can tell you what power you're going to get at the other end. There is a caveat to that. Obviously, a lot of coaxial cable these days has become a lot lower in quality, unfortunately. You know, gone are the good old days, and some of you on this call will have a wee smile to yourself, I'm sure, when it used to be actual copper core. Now a lot of it is steel clad copper, so that does have an effect on some of the distances that we can go, but we still feel in the industry that we have probably the most powerful product out there. Again, the diagram comes into play here, so we can take PoE straight out of the switch into the Highwire PowerStar along the coaxial cable, 300 meters and 500 meters into the camera, and then you're powering the camera along that single piece of existing cable. So for retrofit, very, very powerful, or for longer range coax, it works very, very well. We also do an external version, so exactly the same as you've just seen, but we just put it in an external housing for you. This makes the installation very clean, very easy. It's a pole mount bracket or a wall mount bracket that comes with it. That makes it very simple for the installer to go out, put this out there next to the camera, and not have to think about containment for the Highwire camera end. Again, just a quick diagram just to demonstrate what I mean by that. That would sit out underneath the camera. It actually, I'm biased, I know, but I think it looks aesthetically pleasing compared to, you know, maybe a Patras box or something else that you need to bolt to the pole. And we've done a lot of these in very high-end installation villa requirements. We also do a back box version, so we tried to think about everything to make it as easy for the installation as possible. This is a version that can actually be mounted inside the housing. So I'll jump directly to the diagram. So there you go. In a bullet camera, obviously you could get that into the base. A lot of cameras now will come with a collar that it will go into, and again, it just means it's a much more neater, easier install for those going out and putting these in place. We also do a Highwire Power Duo. So this is, again, Ethernet and PoE over coax, but it means you can now bring back 2 cameras on the same piece of coaxial cable. So again, this makes for a very neat, very economized installation. So you put one of these PowerStar Duos out at the pole location, and you can bring it back across a single piece of coax. And we also do a quad. So we do a quad version as well, and you can power that at the camera end or the base end. Generally, if you are using high wattage cameras or high power hungry cameras, you would power it at the camera end and make sure that you get that maximum power out there. And we also do bigger bases as well. So we can do base 4. So this means that you can bring all your coaxes back into a neat, tidy solution with a base 4. And we do a base 8. So both of these are designed to economize your installation. So the 8 generally works out, rule of thumb, to 6. It's basically you're getting 2 ports free in effect. So if you were to buy 8 individual units, this will cost you the equivalent of 6 for your 8, if that makes sense. So it's a way of us economizing it and just making it a far neater, easier installation. Each one of the base 8s will take up one Ethernet port on your switch. It's key to note. So back at base, you'll only need one port on your Ethernet switch to give all 8 cameras. And there we go, the topography of how that works. Obviously, as we go through the presentation, please do feel free to ask any questions, and we'll try and pick them up as we go. Daniel and the team are on hand to pick those up so I can address them as we go rather than wait until the end. Daniel, are there any questions at the moment?
Nope, I haven't seen any.
Okay, no problem. Very conscious that PowerPoints can be me droning on, so do interrupt me as you need to. Okay, and as I said earlier on, we give you a power budget. So all of our products come with a power budget, and this is to make it as easy for you to specify. We also put this in our product guide. Some of you will be familiar with our transmission product guide. It's actually become a bit synonymous in the industry, and people, when we're at shows, they go like cookies off a plate, to be honest, because they're really, really handy. Each of our product has a diagram, as I've said, and they are all in the product guide as well. Okay, so that's Highwire. Moving on, we have our long-range Ethernet. I'm jumping ahead here. This is actually our long-range Highwire. Sorry, this is the Longstar. So this sits within our long-range Ethernet stuff. The Longstar has the ability to take data up to 1,300 meters or 4,265 foot on RG 59 and RG 11 up to 1,400 meters with 20 watts of power. Again, the diagram. We also do a light version. This is data only, so we can't send power along this, but we can do data only. So obviously saving some cost. All of our products, as I say, come with accessories. So tray mount. So this is rack mountable. And you'll see the first drawing and the second drawing in are the rack mounts that we do, the rack mount trays with a very neat power supply at the back edge, just to make it the installation as clean and easy as possible. Okay, now we move on to Ethernet and PoE extension. And the first in the family of Ethernet extension is our Outreach product. So Ethernet generally has a rule of thumb of around 100 meters. We, with the Outreach, double that. So with the Outreach Max, we can take full, again, it's 10 base T, and it connects in series for up to 300 meters. And you can pass PoE straight through this. These are completely passive devices, and literally you just collect each side and away you go. So 100 meters out of your switch into the ORM, and then 100 meters into your camera for network data and PoE. So it's literally just passing it through. So it just gives you that additional 100 meters. And as I say, we can put them in series if needed. Once you get to a certain level, it becomes more economical to go to our Longspan, which we'll come on to in just a second. We also do a light version. Again, this is easy to install with no setup, and it connects in series, again, 300 meters plus. No local power is required, and you can just pass the PoE through it. And then data only after the device. We do a Max G, so this now takes us up to gigabit. We do a lot of these in installations where data is key. So we've done one huge building in Dubai as an example called the Royal Atlantis. I'd urge you to go and have a look. It's a really impressive building, and they actually weren't using this for security. It was for Wi-Fi access points, because obviously they need to maximize the amount of data throughput. So the Outreach Max G is an ideal solution for that. And again, PoE in, PoE out. We always show cameras as well. Sorry, I must go back and just clarify that. We always show cameras in our diagrams, which is something that is a slight bone of contention for me, because at the end, it can be any IP device. It doesn't necessarily have to be a camera. So obviously in the coaxial stuff, a majority of that will be CCTV. But when we go into the Ethernet stuff, that camera device could be anything. Could be access control, could be an IP phone system. It doesn't really matter. And as I say, the application I've just outlined there was for wireless access data points for internet.
Ashley, we had a question from Robert Otero. These items are not IP67. We will have outdoor models coming up in Ashley's presentation.
Absolutely. So the Highwire XT that you saw, I won't go back through the slides, but that is an outdoor version. And here we go. That was perfect timing, Robert. So thank you for that. So we do an Outreach Max XT. So this is an IP67 rated product. Obviously, it's designed to be put into conduit or into a duct. We do obviously put the caveat that it is down to the installer to ensure that the right glands are fitted. They come with different size glands for different cable thicknesses and things, but obviously you do need to make sure that they are all tightened down, but it will give you that -40 +60 IP67. So great timing. Couldn't have asked that at a better time. And there you go. We can also give you a PoE injector. You'll see on the diagram there, we've got the OS30 and OS90, so 30 watt and 90 watt PoE injectors. And again, that 100 meters into the ORM XT and then into the camera. And we also do a GXT, which is a gigabit. So again, back to what I said before, we can actually give you gigabit speeds through this device in an XT version. And then the next in the family is our long-range Ethernet. So this now takes us up to significant distances. So Longspan can actually take data only up to 820 meters. We have, in certain circumstances, pushed that slightly further, but we're always fairly conservative in our specifications because obviously we want to make sure we deliver every time. There are a lot of variables. Again, goes back to cable quality. You know, there's a lot of cheaper cables out on the market, and you may not always know what you're going to when you go to an installation as to whether the cable is significant quality or not. But 820 meters we're very, very comfortable with, and we have significant amounts of installations around the globe in all temperatures running at those types of distances. But let's go through the family. So the base Longspan is, as I say, it's a point-to-point Ethernet, Cat5e or Cat6 cable. It is 100 base T, up to 820 meters, and we can deliver full PoE plus power at 600 meters, depending on the power budget that you require at the other end, of course. They all come with the smart power and diagnostic display. So when you plug them in, there's a smart LED system on there that will tell you that you're getting data and power. So you know that the device is working as it should. Again, they work as a pair. You have a base and a camera version. We do a Longspan Lite. So this one obviously is point-to-point Ethernet. There is no power in this device. It is just data, and it will deliver, as I say, up to 820 meters. You can take a Longspan Lite into a Longspan Max, and then obviously you can power that locally and pass the power through that into the camera. We can do up to 90 watts out. And then we go to the Longspan Max. So this is now where we can take up to 90 watts PoE. So it will deliver 60 watts at 200 meters and 40 watts at around 350 meters. Obviously, a lot of cameras these days, well, it's twofold, really. Some are taking more power as we see more AI, more illumination and things in cameras. But generally, the smaller kind of dome and bullet cameras are coming down in power requirements. So we're seeing a lot of cameras now around below the 20 watts. So we can do a lot more. You get a lot more bang for your buck. So we can take this a little bit further in terms of distance, but obviously talk to us and we'll happily look at the specification and work with you on a design. Again, a diagram to take you through. I won't take you through it entirely. I'm sure you can look at it, but we have all of these available for you to look at, and they're all available on our website. We do a max quad as well. So again, goes back to what we did on the coax, single piece of Ethernet cable. And we can now put 4 cameras on the pole. So an example of this is if you've got a hotel, the hotel says, I need to add some cameras to my parking lot. We can go out, we can put a Longspan max quad in and add cameras along the existing cable that, you know, the Ethernet cable that's already in the duct. That'd be very difficult to probably go and rip up, or it saves a lot of cost and time in laying further cables. And we can also obviously send power to that, and we give you a power budget. It's around 20 watts per port. Again, back to Robert's question, we do a Longspan Max XT version, so exactly the same housing as the Highwire that you saw. So pole mountable, wall mountable, underneath the camera, and it just makes it very neat and easy rather than putting it in containment. We can also do base 8. So again, similar to the other ranges that you've seen, we also do extended base units to make it very easy. Obviously, a lot of Ethernet topography doesn't necessarily bring back 8 single Ethernets. We do accept that. So there are less base 8s in the market, but still an option for you if you need it. Again, a diagram of just exactly how that looks. As I said and I touched on, we do a fiber to Ethernet converter. We're just about to launch, so keep your eyes peeled. There will be a launch coming up for the Lightspan SFP, so that allows you to use different SFP modules. That will be launched. It's in soft launch already. We have a couple of applications. What we tend to do is launch products to certain applications, make sure that obviously it does everything that is expected of the product, and the customer that we work with is happy that it does as specified, and then we'll full launch that. So I would anticipate that being out probably in the next month. So you'll look out for that in terms of literature and our website and our social medias. But there you see, obviously we take the fiber optic cable straight into the Lightspan at the base and the camera end, and then convert it to Ethernet for you. There isn't an external version of that. I will add that at this stage. And then finally, in terms of the transmission family, we have the Timenet Pro. So although this doesn't transmit data, this is all about NTP time synchronization. It's critically important that your systems are on the right time. The closest rival to this product is around $2,000 for a rack mountable 1 or 2U device. So this has been around a long time, and we're actually looking at the moment at an upgrade of this product. So that, watch out for that in the marketplace too in the next 3 to 4 months. But NTP has always been a real solid product for Veracity, and we sell literally thousands of these, but not a lot of people know we do it, in fact. So it's key that obviously I want to make it clear on this webinar that we do have this available, and obviously it's a really small little product. The picture on there probably doesn't do it justice. It will sit in the palm of your hand, but it's great for closed networks as well because it uses GPS rather than Internet Time Protocol. It means you don't have to expose your network to the exterior world. So if you have a high security installation, this will use GPS, which is extremely secure and extremely accurate. And it's also powered by PoE, so you can put it anywhere on your network. Obviously, the closer you can get to a window or external viewpoint, the better, because the aerial that it comes with needs to see the sky, of course, to get the GPS signal. There we go. There's a diagram of that. And we can bring in all sorts of different applications into that camera. It could be your clocking in, clocking out system to make sure that's accurate. Your access control, obviously any combination of your access control time needs to be the same as your CCTV, because if there is an incident, people need to know, or the law or the judicial system would need to know that it was accurate, etc. Okay, so I buzzed through that fairly quickly. I didn't want it to be death by PowerPoint. I know these webinars can be that. Do we have any other questions?
No questions on the chat or the Q&A portion.
Okay. Look, obviously, once this webinar is finished, it will be available as a recording, so we can get that out to you if you want to look at it again. Also, please do reach out to the sales team across North America and indeed the rest of the world. And if there's anything else we can do to help, then please do let us know. Thanks for joining, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one in this series of webinars.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.